I've had some really big retailers I touched base early on with who said, some replied and said, look, we'll just watch, we'll talk to you later in the year and we'll see how you're going. But the funny thing is that my direction has changed, because then the retailers I thought I wanted at the start, I'm now like, oh no, I don't want them anymore. So I'm pivoting and changing direction. So I'm all now like, as I learn and you grow, I want to work smarter, not harder. So I'm like, I want to work with retailers, not the ones that are going to stinge every piece of margin out of me. If I can get a retailer that's going to be a bit more better for my profile and, and look good for the brand and not stinge every dollar, I'm going to move in those directions.
Absolutely. And I love how this isn't just one strategy. I find it really interesting. Some people are like, oh, yeah, I tried that. It didn't work. Tried that. Didn't work. And I'm like, no, you've got to actually do everything, be
Yes.
everywhere all at once. Like you've mentioned wholesale, you've
Yeah.
mentioned PR, you've mentioned influencers, ads, gifting. Like you are, and you haven't gone, oh, I did that and then stopped. Like it's like this is all on all the time.
It is literally all on, and it's just like every little thing is, there's so many moving parts. And I think that's what's the time consuming thing in business, is that there's so many moving parts and you just need them constantly moving. And you can't stop. It all has to be going at the same time.
Yeah.
And also like networking and doing things like I've contracted to Channel 9 for 10 years as their spray tan. And now I have my own brand. When they've come to me and said, can you do the tanning? Like last year they came to me and said, can you do Love Island? I said, yes, I can, as long as I can use my product, which isn't launched yet. They made me test it to market first to see what it looked like, then agreed. They've then rebooked me this year, which is next week. But it's just about all the little like placements. Now I've got home products, so I'm making sure that I'm taking the home product to gift the Love Island contestants, which I didn't have that last year. But this year I'm like, whoa, no one knows who you are yet, but eventually they
They
will.
will.
Yeah. And
Yes.
that could be a product placement that's in the villa, because they could take it into the villa to top up. So it's just about all these little bits. And it's like, no missed opportunities. I've missed a million opportunities like over the years, even like this year. So now I'm very conscious of like every little thing that could be an opportunity that could lead to something else, or, going to an event that might be, a networking event, but you might meet one person that actually then connects you to something that becomes something. Like you just don't know where the next little lead is. They're everywhere.
Yeah, and I also love that idea of like, just who cares if it's just one person, like I feel like everyone wants to go viral,
Yeah.
everyone wants to like, the business takes off and we're all billionaires tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes it is that just the next one, just the
Yeah.
next one,
Yeah.
just the next
Keep
one.
putting your foot in front of one foot in front of the other is what gets you there. It's like that's
Yeah.
all you can do, is just keep progressing and eventually hope that it gets you to the places that you're trying to get to.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that so much. What do you think has been the biggest challenge of a product-based business versus the retail salon environment?
I mean, for me, it's initial orders, like having those initial orders. Obviously, we have minimum order quantities, but knowing when to, place your second drop. Like I have a product that's coming out. It's a merch product, so it's not actually a tanning, because we also do some merchandise to do with holidays, because it's island vibes. Everything's holiday. We've got towels and bits and bobs, but we've got some really cool bottle, like they're drink bottles that you take on your holiday with you. And we have a few colorways, and it's about knowing, like, I just don't know what color is going to sell. And it's kind of like trying to work that out. And I ask around like family, friends, staff members, like what color, and everyone's kind of different. So it's about trying to work out that, happy medium where you order enough stock that, you want to get the sales, but you don't want to like sell out and go, oh my God, I could have ordered like hundreds more. Or you go the other way and you order hundreds and you get stuck with stock. So, and that's probably the hardest bit, is knowing your quantities and storing everything. So it's like storage for all your bottles and your bits and bobs. Like, I mean, all my bottles and everything that the tan goes into, I buy all the components separately. I buy the bottle, I buy the lid, I buy the pump, I buy the label. So everything is from someone, they're all from different people, and then they all come to me, and then they're all in boxes labeled. So it's just, logistics is like a huge part of a brand. It's not as simple. Well, some brands, you know, some brands obviously come in one piece, but others it's just, it can be a bit of a logistical nightmare.
Do you like label it yourself, or do you get all the components and your chemist does that?
So that was the idea, was that my chemist would do it, but my chemist label maker it couldn't work on my labels. So I then had to, the first drop had to be hand labeled by my chemist team, did it, thank God, not me. And then the second drop was done by the actual company that I buy the bottles from. We just then sent the bottles back to them and the labels back to them, and then they labeled them. So it's just like a 3PL, like you pay your 3 cents or your 4 cents per label to get relabeled. So it's just all these little moving parts, and then, you know, freight back and forth, and then freight getting it back to the chemist. So it's just everything moving around to get it. You know, you've got to know, you've got to be organized.
Yeah, totally. It's funny. I had an e-commerce brand during COVID, hand sanitizer,
Yes.
obviously, and I hand labeled like
Oh, wow.
thousands of like
Yeah, it's
those
wild.
pouches. It was
Yeah,
hell. It
it
was
is
just,
crazy. Yeah, it's so crazy. And I'm so like anal. So I'm just like, oh my God, if it's not perfectly straight, like it's just, it
yeah.
becomes, freaks me out.